When I was younger, I was pretty judgmental, especially with things like music. Either you were Rush, Dio, or Judas Priest and got reactions like,
Iron Maiden? Excellent!
everything else was trash and no one should like it. Now that I'm older, I try and find positive aspects to all media, even if it wasn't made for me. I still dislike some things, but I won't write off entire genres. These days, I'll happily admit to listening to things like Taylor Swift, Weird Al, or Will Smith, despite the reaction that might get from other people.
Wow!
So when I say I don't like Stray, understand that it doesn't mean it's a bad game. In fact, it's a great game that's won a bunch of awards and even got non-gaming YouTube personalities like Jackson Galaxy to try their hand at streaming a game for the first time.
I'm melting.
In today's episode of GBU Reviews, I'll be looking at the cat game and seeing how the designers altered the game to fit their target audience better while simultaneously failing to commit to their core concept. And hopefully, we can do it all without rushing to the comments to tell me how dumb I am for not liking the game. But hey, if you're still young and unwilling to accept other opinions like I was, then flame on, you crazy diamond. Animations can tell us so much about a character and their world. Think of Kratos, heavy breathing and hunched over stance, and how it perfectly encapsulates his anger and physical exertion that he goes through in the God of War games. The animations in Stray are really convincing for the first 10 minutes of the game. I honestly felt like I was playing a game about a cat, which is what I imagine most Stray players came here for. They saw a cute cat and just went, "You don't love me!" Then as soon as they saw that you could take naps, scratch carpets, and snuggle up to robots, they were ready to give Stray Game of the Year, no matter what the gameplay was.
Shut up and take my money!
Too bad for Stray, I tend to not play games because they're cute. I actually didn't waste my time doing any of that stuff except for when it came to recording the footage. That might explain why it only took me about 3 hours to get through the game. But I'm not Stray's target audience, and Blue 12 knew that. Stray caters to a broader audience, because most people like cats, and not all of these players are hardcore gamers. We can see how that's impacted the game's design, like the platforming. More modern games like Assassin's Creed grant players massive freedom to explore large cities as they hunt their targets, while games like Mario focus on more technical and precise jumping. And sure, designers can tune either of these systems to make them accessible, but Stray opts to avoid both, letting players explore small hub areas instead of an open world, and using a jump prompt. I think this honestly works for Stray, because actual cats are ninjas. If you gave players that kind of maneuverability and an open world, odds are novices would struggle with the controls and platforming, and they'd end up looking like idiots. The hub and level design keeps players from getting lost, while the jump prompt means that there's no dealing with invisible walls or weird geometry that could get players stuck. It's just nice and easy. One button gets players anywhere they want to go, and the floating button prompt even helps identify where you can go. It's cute too, because as you stare at the jump prompt, your cat is doing a little animation like it's measuring the jump. You know what I'm talking about, right? We've all seen cats getting ready to pounce doing their little wiggle. The last thing I like about the jump prompt is that it lets the game designers decorate the environment in more interesting ways, since they don't have to worry about players getting stuck or lost. It lets Blue 12 put some decent environmental storytelling in the game, which they try and do. There's a lot of mystery to discover, like why are all the clocks 16-hour clocks? If you go out of your way, you can find answers to a lot of these interesting details. There were a few moments in Stray that had me believing I was playing a cat, and the developers handled some of the puzzle aspects perfectly. My favorite bit is this clip right here, and it's from roughly the first 10 or so minutes. During this clip, the player has to do some platforming to keep going, and it's clear that something is watching you through the cameras. The game has a meow button, and when you meow, the robot watching you through the cameras lights up the path and nods their camera, giving you a hint of how to proceed. That's the best Stray gets for me, because it works on so many levels. As a player, I'm in the role of a cat, I don't care about the world around me or the story. I have an objective to get home to the other cats. So I want to climb this building. The robot is trying to guide me to a specific location, so it wants me to climb this building. And a cat meowing isn't something wild cats do. I learned that from Jackson Galaxy.
So the meow is specifically a cat to human relational communicational extravaganza.
So in a group of feral cats, you'll never hear a meow?
Never.
Wow.
So using my meow as a hint button is just brilliant. It's a shame that by the 20-minute mark, Stray falls apart. So Stray starts off strong, and I'm sure at this point we all know how the story begins. You're a cat, you have friends, then 2 minutes into the game, you go down to the pits.
This is Sparta!
From here, we have an obvious goal. Get back to the cats on the surface. This is as deep as the story should ever get for Stray. Because you're supposed to be playing a cat. All the stuff about the world should be up to the player to discover, but never forced as part of the critical path. How am I supposed to feel like I'm a cat when a sequence in the game has me, and I wish I was making this up, meow to make someone spill paint so I can get into a laundromat, get detergent to trade for wires from a merchant, have someone knit a sweater from those wires, give that sweater to a robot who's chilly so we can warm up and fix my tracking device. That's some Sierra Age adventure game levels of bullshit.
Guns don't work on Sunday.
And you expect me to believe that a cat not only can do all of this fetch quest nonsense, but actually cares about the robots and their missions?
Shenanigans! Shenanigans!
And that's the crux of my problem with Stray. The only realistic interaction the cat has with the robots is this clip. There are moments when the game shows promise. There are some enemies called the Zerks you have to run away from, and then some of the robots want you dead as well. Avoiding them actually makes you feel like a prey animal. But the enemies are poorly handled to me. The Zerks are threats for the opening part of the game, and then the game lets you kill them for one section. After that, they never show up again, because it's the robot's turn to be the bad guys. As for your robot companion B12, the game makes a big point of making the cat wear a backpack because the robot needs to charge its battery. But there's never anything fun done with that. There's no section where the robot's low battery becomes an issue beyond when it acts like an ammo system for that section where you kill the Zerks. This game's main appeal is being cute, and you're telling me they couldn't think to give me a low battery robot acting silly?
We jumped out a window.
No! And that's why Stray is so disappointing. Everything about it is surface level. There's no depth. Things are just in the game because why not? It's cute. But it never does anything. What I would have loved to see from Stray is to have you actually play a cat. Forget the story and let's really dive into the survival stealth of the robot sections and those intense chase sequences with the Zerks. Of course, you could have kept all the animations like taking a nap, but instead of just being random cute actions, those things should have been part of the gameplay. Building the relationship between you and your companion robot or serving a purpose. Instead, what we're left with is a game where you essentially play a human, buying items from stores, using keypads and keys to navigate the world, all while pretending to be a cat. Because why not? It's all interchangeable anyway.
Cat's back for everyone!
I had a dog.
He's cat now!
Do you know how many annoying NPCs I've had to put up with in games? Everyone's got a horror story about stupid escort quests in games. And when I saw Stray, I finally thought it was gonna be my turn to annoy the hell out of an NPC. I mean, the opening segment of the game I praised set it up to be that way. The cat wants to get to the surface and not die to monsters and robots. So the cute robot guides the cat trying to make it do things. There's a saying about herding cats, about how annoying it is to make them do something you want. But instead of embracing that, Blue 12 made your cat do adventure game puzzles with stupid logic. It's such a waste of potential because players never do what you want them to as a designer. So a cat is the perfect embodiment of how players behave. Imagine how funny it could have been to be playing a game where you get to explore and do whatever you want while the NPC is freaking out trying to get you to do a thing.
Go left. Nope, that's right. Go left, you goddamn fucking thing. No!
When you'd complete a puzzle, the robot could feed your cat a treat, just like how we try and train animals, and those could restore your health.
Here, eat the barrel. He likes it. Okay, now go.
So then we're not losing the cute animations that make Stray what it is now, we're just making them more functional. I'd even use the cat naps as save points, because not only are they cute, save points are better for survival games since they create a risk for the player. They can actually lose some progress when they die. I'd even lean into your meow being the hint button like in the opening section because it's both cute and functional.
Wait. Him playing with that opens the gate.
Stray really needs to get more out of their cute animations.
At this point of the game, I'm just trying to get to the end because I feel like the dog will die at the end of the game. Genius! Oh my god, why didn't I think of that?
Obviously, I'd keep the sneaking sections where you have to evade the robot sentries, as well as the chase sequences with the Zergs, because those feel like correct behaviors for a cat. But to amplify them, imagine that B12, the robot, could kill the Zergs. So your job would be to survive while the NPC does all the work. It could make for a fun challenge that's way more fitting to the lore than a cat toppling some robot government. And I know that it would work because they do it in one section of the game. What I like about this system, beyond actually fulfilling the core promise of the game, is that it allows players to decide how involved they want to be with the game's story. You could follow B12's instructions and do what the robot wants you to do. Or you could play like a cat and explore, go do your own thing at your own pace. If you're interested in the lore of the world, you can go off and learn about it all while the robot is going, kitty, 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 come kitty! Then, as you progress through the world, the robot might lead you through factories or ruins. And players who are paying attention to the lore get to have fun because they'll know where they are and recognize the locations from the clues they've discovered. The players who don't care will just get to the obstacles going,
Excuse me. Excuse me. What? I'd like to get fine now.
Look, I get why Stray is popular. Cats are great, but the game is just so disappointing for me because it didn't deliver on the core promise of being a cat. Part of me suspects that either Blue 12 or someone at their publisher was too scared to fully commit to a cat game, and instead, they morphed the design to be closer to other games, adding inventory and a forced story, but it detracts from the experience. The way the game is now, I wouldn't have been surprised if they tried to do a dramatic reveal that your cat's backstory had it being a human. I mean, there's so many points in the game where your cat basically talks to the robots. You're trying to escape from jail and one of the robots is like, hey, we gotta get out of here! And somehow the cat convinces it that you can't leave anyone behind. Like, did I miss the part where the cat could talk? I mean, they may as well give it a voice at this point. It understands the robots. And if we're gonna abandon logic in this game, go all in, make it funny at least. Let the cat speak.
Looking for this. Is that my voice?
But hey, that's just my opinion. Like I said at the start, I don't like Stray. But I'm not the target audience. If you like Stray, more power to you. I just wanted to play a game where I could be the annoying NPC. A game where I played like a cat instead of some weird wannabe cat thing. Okay, enough of that. Get out of here.